Welcome to our next video in a series of how-to videos for the Canadian Political Science Association's Call for Proposals system. In this video, I will walk you through the process of building your conference program. Any questions regarding the use of the system can be directed to the email on your screen. Okay, let's get started. First, we make sure we are on the homepage of the website where we can locate our login button, which is found at the bottom of our welcome message. Let's click on Login, where we will use our email address and password as previously set up on the system. If you have never used the system, you will need to create a login and a profile. Please contact the email on the screen for more information on creating your profile. Once we are logged in, the system will return us to our homepage, which will now present a series of buttons. Today, we will be reviewing the Build Program option. Let's click on that button and begin the process of building our conference program. Today, I am set up as the section head for Canadian politics. When our page loads, we will see a table containing any sessions we may have already created, or if we have not yet created a session, our table will be empty. Let's begin by creating a new session for our program by clicking the Create Session button at the top left of our screen. We are now presented with a form containing many available fields for creating our session. At this point, we are simply creating the base attributes of our session. Let's now go through our field options for creating our session. Starting at the top, we are presented with our conference section this session will be assigned to. Next, we see a field to enter the title of our session. You will see in the green text above the field some reference notes for when you are creating roundtables or workshops. Let's create a title for our session. Next, we see a drop-down menu for selecting our session code. This drop-down contains all of the available time slots for creating our session. You will see that some of the time slots are assigned to specific events, such as coffee breaks, business and committee meetings, presidential address, and so on. Let's select Day 1, Session 1 for the session we are creating today. Note that when you are first putting together your program, you do not need to assign a time slot if you are not ready to. The only field that is required to create your initial session setup is the title. All of the other fields can be updated at any time. To the right of the session code is a drop-down for our subsession. This is used when we have concurrent sessions running. These are sessions in the same section running in the same time slot. For example, we can have 3 separate Canadian politics sessions running at Day 1, Session 1. If we have a concurrent session running, our first session's subsession is A, our next session is B, and so on. This allows the conference program to sort our concurrent sessions accordingly. If you only have one session running in a time slot, you do not need to use the subsession option. Leave it blank. Next, we have our room size. This assists our local events coordinator with room bookings for the event. Please consult with the program chair or local events coordinator for size details for small, medium, and large rooms. Next, we are presented with the fields for our chairs and discussants. These fields must be completed to show the chair and discussants for your sessions in the final conference program. I emphasize the word must because when users submit their proposals for roundtables or multi-paper panel proposals, they have the option of entering suggested chairs or discussants for their session. As a section head, you can view the suggested chairs for a multi-panel proposal or roundtable through the Review Proposals button on our homepage. If you are going to use the suggested chair and discussant, you must re-enter the chair and discussant information in the fields for your session. Let's enter our chair and discussant information. Once again, you do not need to enter this info at this time. The only field that is required to create your initial session setup is the title. All of the other fields can be updated at any time. Below our chair and discussant info is our room assignment. This information will be entered at a later date by CPSA administration and the local events coordinator. This will be the actual room name in the university that our session will be presented in. Next, we have our session sponsor. This field is available for session sponsor information. Session sponsors must be coordinated with CPSA admin and the program chair. Our next field is for entering joint session information. If this is a coordinated joint session with another section, please enter the section name here. If this is a joint session with multiple sessions, please separate the section with a comma. Next, we have 2 different notes sections. available for entering extra details for our session. The first notes section is for notes that will appear in the conference program. We can use this when we want to present details about a plenary speaker in our session or a special thank you to the sponsor of the session. CPSA staff also use this field to present sponsor logos in the session. The next notes section is for your own personal notes. This information is not presented in the final program. The next and final section of the Create Session form is a section for entering extra participant information. This can be used for a few different things, however, it is only to be used in special circumstances. An example for using this section of the form is if you are hosting a special roundtable or speakers session that is being created by you, the section head, and need to enter participants for this session. If you are creating a standard roundtable or multi-paper panel session, all of your participant information will already be available when we assign the submitted proposal to your session in the next section of this video. So once again, these fields are only to be used in special circumstances. So now that we have the information put together for our session, let's click the Create Session button at the bottom of our screen to create our session. You will be notified on the screen that your session has been created. Let's click the View Edit Sessions link to return to our Sessions table. Let's take a moment to review what is appearing in our Sessions table. From left to right, we can see our session code. This is determined by the time slot that you selected for your session. Next, we see our session title. Next, we have our day and session number, then our start and end times as determined by the time slot that you selected for your session. Next, we see the section the session is assigned to, followed by our room size. Next, we can see how many proposals we have assigned to this session. At this point, we have not assigned any, so our number is 0. Next, we are presented with a series of buttons: Build, Edit, and Delete. We will review these from right to left. Delete is only available when we have not assigned any proposals to our session. If we want to delete the session we have created, simply click the Delete button and follow the instructions on the screen. The Edit button allows us to go back to the session details we created earlier in the video. If we need to edit or update the information about our session, simply click the Edit button and we are presented once again with the details of our session. Finally, to the left of our Edit button is our Build button. This is the button we want to click when we want to assign submitted proposals to our session. This is where we build up the program with the extensive details contained within the submitted proposals. Let's click Build. At the top of the screen, we are presented with some of the details about our session. If we scroll down the page, we can see that we are presented with two different sections. Our top section in green shows us the proposals that are currently assigned to this session. At this point, we do not have any proposals assigned to our session. Our next section under the red text shows us all of the available proposals that are not assigned to any sessions. It is here where we will select the proposal or proposals we would like added to this session. If we are creating a roundtable session or a session using a multi-paper panel submission, we will only be selecting one proposal because the roundtable or multi-paper panel proposal contains all of the information we will need for one of those types of sessions. If we are looking to create a full session containing multiple single papers that were submitted, this is where we can assign as many proposals as needed to complete our session. Let's select two different single papers to assign to our session. We can see that some basic information about the proposal is presented in the table. To the far right of this information is a checkbox, which we will click to select the proposal or proposals we would like to add to our session. Once you have your selections ready, click the Add Selected Papers to Session button at the bottom of the screen. The page will reload and you will notice that under the green text, the proposals that you just selected are now showing in this section. Let's scroll down to the bottom of our page and return to our session menu. You will notice a couple things have changed with our session details. First, we can see under the number sign header that there is a proposal assigned to this session. We can also see that our Delete button is no longer visible. This is because we now have a proposal assigned to the session. If you no longer want this session in your program, you must unassign the proposal from the session title. Simply click the Build button to return to the Build Session page. Now click the Remove button to the right of the proposal to remove it from this session. The screen will refresh and the proposal will once again be available in the section of Unassigned Proposals. When we click the Return Sessions button, we can see that our number count is back to 0, and our delete button is once again available. Before we end this video, I would like to speak more on assigning chairs and discussants to our sessions. If you are creating a session containing a group of single paper proposal submissions, you must seek out a chair and discussant for your session. When roundtable or multi-paper panel submissions are submitted during the call for proposals process, the user can enter a suggested chair or discussant for the proposal. Let's look at an example of this. Let's create a roundtable session. Now, let's assign a submitted roundtable. Once we have added the proposal to our session, let's click on the actual proposal to see the details the submitter has provided. We can see that this submitter has provided a suggested chair for their session. If you are okay with this suggested chair, you can copy and paste their details on a Word doc or notepad in order to add them to the chair and discussant details of the session. You must also get in contact with these individuals to verify their attendance for the conference. Once you have confirmed the chair or discussant, we must add their details to our session. That concludes our video on building our conference program. Once again, if you have any questions, please contact the email on your screen. Thank you.